This is George Robbins. He was a man who liked the high life. Partner in a second-hand car business and divorced for 9 years, he worked hard and spent hard. He had no shortage of women friends. George Robbins led a full and eventful life. He also had his fair share of enemies, both in his business and private careers. When he met Mrs. Catherine Barnes, another enemy was added to the list. Harold Barnes, her husband. On August the 6th, George Robbins disappeared from his country cottage. Police found bloodstains, signs of a struggle, and witnesses heard gunshots in the night. From that day, no one has seen or heard from George Robbins. On November the 8th, Harold Barnes was charged with his murder. The trial of Harold Barnes has just opened at Fulchester Crown Court in front of Mr. Justice Waddington.
Mr. Fry.
May it please your lordship, members of the jury, you will no doubt appreciate the singular aspects of the case that you're about to hear. Harold Barnes stands accused of the murder of George Robbins on the 6th of August this year. But as you are aware, the body of George Robbins has not been found. However, you will hear evidence that will show that notwithstanding the fact that his body has not been found, George Robbins is dead, and that his death was deliberately caused by the defendant, Harold Barnes. Now, the prosecution must first prove to the court's satisfaction that George Robbins is dead. And you will have evidence that will show this to be absolutely clear beyond any shadow of doubt. And secondly, the prosecution must go on to show that his death was caused by the man who stands before you in the dock, Harold Barnes. Accordingly, I call the first witness for the prosecution, Philip James Kirby.
James Kirby, please.
No.
What is your religion?
Chile.
Take the testament in your right hand and read aloud the words on the card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You are Philip James Kirby,
Yes, sir.
and you live at Green Gables Manor Road, Fulchester.
Yes, I do, sir.
Would you state your occupation, Mr. Kirby?
I'm a company director.
Well, that term is very widely used these days, Mr. Kirby. Could you be more specific?
Well, I'm a director, managing director actually now, of an enterprise connected with the automobile industry.
You buy and sell cars.
You could put it like that, yes.
How would you put it, Mr. Kirby?
Well, I buy and sell cars, Your Honour.
You have made the situation most clear.
I'm much obliged to your lordship. Do you deal in any particular sort of cars, Mr. Kirby?
You name it, Squire, and I'll handle it.
You will address counsel as Sir. Mr. Fry is not, I believe, a member of the landed gentry.
Sorry, Your Worship.
The answer I was trying to elicit, Mr. Kirby, was that you dealt exclusively in second-hand cars.
Well, sometimes when they come out the showrooms, they might be a bit shop-soiled, but there's nothing on the clock.
Quite. It would be helpful if you would simply answer my questions. Now, what was your relationship with George Robbins?
He was my business associate.
You were partners?
Yes, 50-50, right down the middle, me and George.
In the Xanadu car sales company of Fulchester?
Yeah, at the top of Bolton Road.
And how long had you been partners?
3 years, almost. Well, it would have been 3 years in September if poor old George hadn't copped it.
My lord,
I anticipate you, Mr. Elliot. Mr. Kirby, the court is waiting patiently to hear what you have to say so that it may make up its own mind whether George Robbins is dead or not. It can well do without your opinions and conclusions on the matter.
Sorry, Your Worship.
Were you friends as well as partners?
Yes.
You saw each other socially?
Oh, all the time.
Did you know anything about his private life?
Oh, did I?
That was the question, Mr. Kirby.
Oh, blimey, yeah, I did, yeah.
It was, you might say, an open book.
Yeah,
And you were aware of the various women in his life as and when they appeared on the scene?
sometimes before.
Really?
Yeah, well, George was a bit of an operator, I'm not kidding, you know. I mean, sometimes he'd tell us 2 or 3 weeks beforehand that on such and such a date he was going to pull such and such a bird, and bingo. He always did, he never missed.
I hate to give the impression of being out of touch with modern phraseology, but what is involved when a girl is pulled?
Well, I think, my lord, one might substitute the expression to strike up an acquaintance.
I see. Thank you.
So, to summarise, Mr. Kirby, Mr. Robbins kept you fully informed about his private life.
Yeah.
Now, when he made up his mind to pursue a certain lady, was he particular as to her current married status?
Particular, they moved, he had 'em.
He selected married as well as unattached women.
Oh, yeah, well, if he thought there was ever going to be any trouble, he'd pack it in, just like that.
You mean, if her husband in the matter objected to Mr. Robbins' attentions to his wife, Mr. Robbins would end the association?
Hot potatoes wasn't in it.
What on earth have hot potatoes to do with it?
Well, you've heard of the old saying, dropped it like
Yes,
an
I have. Now listen to me, Captain. When counsel asks you a question, you will answer in as direct and simple a matter as you can. Now, is that clear? I'm getting a little tired of having to translate your eccentric replies into some kind of sense.
Sorry, Your Honour.
Mr. Robbins was not prepared to face antagonism from the husband of any woman with whom he'd been having an association. Is that a fair summary, Mr. Kirby?
Yes.
Thank you. Well, now, could we come to the events that took place in your office on July the 17th?
Oh, you mean when Harry...
Just wait for my question.
All right.
Now, would you tell us briefly what occurred?
Well, we were all in the office.
Who's all?
Oh, there was George, Ted Baxter, Chopper Sims, they're two of our salesmen, and me.
Carry on, please.
Well, we'd just come back from lunch.
This was in the afternoon?
Yes, about 4 o'clock. Well, things were a bit slack that day, you know. And Ted was doling out some tea, George was telling us about some bird or other. When all of a sudden the door bashed open and who come rushing in like a maniac but him?
The defendant?
He barged in as though he was going to start World War III. Got hold of George, he said, now look here, you old something. I'm not going to tell you again. And he got hold of his lapels and dragged him over the desk and he said...
try and be as accurate as you can, Mr. Kirby.
Yeah, well, he said, if you don't keep away from my wife, he said, I'm going to kill you. And he meant it, and he looked as if he did and all.
His wife being Mrs. Barnes?
Yeah.
Yes. And what did Mr. Robbins do?
George? Oh, he was shocked.
Well, how do you mean shocked? Shocked with fear?
Well, he said he didn't know what it was all about.
And did he say anything else?
Yes.
What?
Well, first, he said, let go of my shirt.
Then what?
Well, then he went up to him and said, Harry, look, I've not had anything to do with your wife, and that's the truth.
And what happened then?
Well, Barnes said to him, he said, if I hear that you've been with her once more, I'll kill you. And then he went out.
Mr. Kirby, to your knowledge, had George Robbins been associating with Mrs. Barnes?
Well, there had been rumours.
Only rumours?
Nothing more than that, though.
Well, did you ever see them together or see anything, witness anything that suggested that they were associating?
No.
Well, did you witness any further example of Barnes' suspicion about his wife and Mr. Robbins?
Did I do what?
Did something happen at the El Condor nightclub on July the 30th?
Oh, yes. Well, we were all... we all went there to have a drink, you see, because George had won a court case about some money that somebody owed him. And being George, all the drinks were on him.
All on this occasion being...
Well, me, my lady wife, and George and his
latest companion.
Yeah, gorgeous stripper he had from London.
Stick to the relevant facts, Mr. Kirby, or we shall be here all day.
Well, we was having a bit of a knees up, having a good time, Your Honour. All of a sudden, Barnes weaves in, walks over to the table, grins sideways, said to George, you better make the most of it, Cocker, because you'll never live to collect.
To collect?
Yeah, the money he won in the court case.
Did you say anything else?
Yeah, well, he didn't have a chance, really, because he was chucked out by the bouncers.
Make the most of it, because you won't live to collect.
Yeah, well, George was very upset about it, I tell you.
So Barnes continued to suspect Robbins of associating with his wife?
Yeah, but you couldn't tell him otherwise, because he had it in for George.
Did he say where he was going for the weekend?
Mr. Elliot, do you object to that question?
My lord, I think the case of Regina versus Buckley precludes me from objecting.
Well, there are other cases on the point, Mr. Elliot. However, if you do not object, the witness may answer.
Yeah, well, he went down to his cottage. He's got this little place in the country, you know. It's quite near where his ex lives.
Ex-wife?
Yes, Barbara. He used to go down there every Saturday to see the kids.
And did he go alone, do you know?
Oh, well, he wouldn't take none of his girlfriends down in front of his kids, you know.
Did he make any arrangements with you for the following week?
Yes, we was due to meet on the Monday to push a big deal through, and George would never have missed that.
But he did miss it.
Oh, he did, yeah.
Mr. Kirby, have you seen or heard from George Robbins from that day to this?
No.
Thank you. Oh, no, stay there, please, Mr. Kirby. I'm sure my learned friend would love to ask you some questions.
Just a few, Mr. Kirby, just a few. When the defendant came to your office on July the 17th...
Yes.
You've told the court how he burst in very angry, how he grabbed Robbins by the shirt front and threatened to kill him if he didn't stop seeing his wife.
He did.
And while this dramatic scene was being enacted, what were you, Baxter, and this Chopper Sims doing?
Doing?
Doing.
Oh, well, we was trying to reason with him.
Yes, how?
Well, we was trying to tell him how wrong he was.
I see. Mr. Kirby, George Robbins was 6 feet 2 inches tall, and he weighed 14 stone 6 pounds. Now, that makes him a formidable opponent, wouldn't you say?
Well, he never threw his weight around, old George.
A man of peace.
Anything for a quiet life.
Oh, yes, you've told us how he dropped his girlfriends at the slightest hint of trouble from their husbands. No, what I'm trying to get is a mental picture of the scene in your office on that particular day. In storms bounds, assaults your partner, threatens his life, while you and the other men present peacefully remonstrate with him.
Well, none of us likes violence if it can be avoided.
I put it to you, sir, that you, Baxter and Sims, grabbed him, held his arms, while George Robbins punched him several times in the stomach. And thereafter, you and your accomplices threw him out.
That's a pack of lies. We never touched him.
Moving next to your celebrations at the El Condor Club, your good time, as you called it, was mainly achieved by shouting insults at Barnes while he stood alone at the bar.
Well, you fetch me a witness that can prove that.
You are in no position to demand anything of the sort. Answer the question.
What question? He didn't ask one.
Did you or did you not provoke the defendant by shouting insults about his wife until he could no longer stand it and came over to your table in a justifiably furious temper?
No, we didn't.
Did George Robbins, or did he not, derive great amusement from flaunting his supposed affair with Mrs. Barnes, while you and your companions laughed until finally Barnes lost his temper, came over to your table and started shouting back?
I've never heard such a load of rubbish.
I have, Mr. Kirby, in this courtroom out of your own mouth.
He can't say that, can he?
May we dispense with comment, Mr. Elliot?
Quite so, my lord. And the used car business, I think it right to say, Mr. Kirby, is one where keen competition is engendered.
You do earn your money, that's a fact.
And like most occupations which create keen competition, there is often rivalry, even hostility, would you say?
Quite a bit.
Yes. In fact, in any given month, proprietors of used car firms have to contend with threats from many different
Well, I
sources.
hope this line of observations my learned friend is pursuing will eventually lead to a relevant question.
Well, look, it is not the intention of the defense to rest this case exclusively on the question of whether George Robbins is alive or dead. It is our case, however, that if he's dead, his death was not due to the actions of the defendant, Harold Barnes.
Mr. Kirby awaits your question, Mr. Elliot, as do we all.
Thank you, my lord. It's simply this, Mr. Kirby. Was George Robbins ever, to your knowledge, threatened by anyone else other than the defendant?
No, he was a very popular man in the trade.
Because of his scurrilous stories, or because of his immaculate business methods?
Well, both.
That's a very frank answer. Retaining this mood of frankness, would you tell the court this? Did either you or George Robbins ever ask the police for protection for your business premises because of a threat that violence was due to break out there involving rival car dealers? I think carefully about your answer, Mr. Kirby, remembering the police have extensive records.
Yeah, well, we did once.
Were the police also assigned to keep Mr. Robbins' home under surveillance for fear that he might be attacked physically there?
I wouldn't know anything about that.
Perhaps. But you did ask the police for protection, didn't you, Mr. Kirby?
Yeah, but nothing happened, though.
Well, not that time, no. No further questions, thank you.
Oh, no.
Very well, Mr. Kirby. You may leave the witness box.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Call Mrs. Barbara Robbins.
Barbara Robbins, please.
What is your religion?
CV.
Take the testament in your right hand and read aloud the words on the card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You are Mrs. Barbara Robbins.
Yes?
And you live at Whitefield Lodge, Cross Gates, near Scobie.
Yes.
Mrs. Robbins, how long have you been divorced from George Robbins?
9 years.
Do you have any children from that marriage?
2. 2 boys.
And how old are they?
12 and 13.
After the divorce, they lived with you,
Yes?
but their father had regular access to them.
Yes, he saw them every weekend. And once a year he took them on holiday for 2 weeks.
This was an acceptable arrangement to you?
Oh, yes.
Have you married again since your divorce?
No.
Now, the boy's father saw them every weekend.
Yes.
Did you ever know him, until his disappearance, not to turn up for one of these visits?
Well, in 9 years, I can only think of 3 or 4 times he missed. And on each of them, he always telephoned to say why.
It was, you would say, an important date in his diary.
It had to be something pretty vital to make him miss. He loved his kids far more than he ever loved me.
Can I now take you back to the 6th of August this year?
Yes.
That was a Friday. Did Mr. Robbins phone on that day?
Yes. Every Friday he telephoned to check we'd be home
And he rang as usual on the 6th?
Yes. I answered the phone and said it was all right and that he could pick him up and that I'd see him tomorrow.
But he didn't appear?
No.
Nor did he subsequently phone to explain why he didn't turn up on the 7th of August?
No.
Mrs. Robbins, have you seen or heard from George Robbins since speaking to him on the telephone on the 6th of August this year?
No.
Thank you. Would you stay there, please?
Mrs. Robbins, as you know, the court must establish beyond a reasonable doubt that your ex-husband is no longer alive.
Yes, I understand that.
Your ex-husband was heavily insured, was he not?
He looked after his family.
Including this recent insurance policy, the total of them is about £60,000.
Something like that.
Which you and your children stand to collect in the event of his death.
Yes.
In the event of his death, that is, saved by suicide.
That's true. But I don't see what you're getting at. I never heard of suicide without a body before.
Indeed, Mrs. Robbins. Well, should your husband have decided to take his own life, and should he not wish to deprive you of the insurance money because of the suicide clause, is it not conceivable that he could have staged his death and made it look like murder?
My lord.
Thank you. No further questions.
Unless your lordship has any questions. Thank you, Mrs. Robbins. That will be all. Call Mrs. Gwendolen Farr.
Gwendolen Farr, please.
What is your religion? Take the testament in your right hand and read aloud the words on the card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Will you state your full name and address, please?
Gwen Farr, 26 Chetwynd Street, Wilton, near Fulchester.
Is that address in the vicinity of Norwood Farm?
Yes.
Lord, the cottage owned by Robbins and known as Tree Fell Cottage is one of several cottages on the land adjoining Norwood Farm.
Thank you.
And Mrs. Farr, were you anywhere in the neighbourhood of Tree Fell Cottage on the evening of Friday, August the 6th this year?
Well, I was going past it.
What did you see or hear?
Well, first thing was a car that went down the track.
Towards Tree Fell Cottage? Yes.
I thought it was odd because it didn't have its lights on. It's awfully dark down the track, and there were lots of bushes and things on each side, you know?
What did you see or hear?
Well, it was some time later, and I wasn't quite sure what it was, and it scared the life out of me.
What did?
3 enormous bangs. They went off very quickly, one after the other.
And then what happened?
Well, I didn't realise at the time what it could be. I mean, I knew it was a gun. I thought it might be poachers, but, well, you don't shoot things in the dark, do you?
And did anything happen to make you suspicious?
Yes.
Would you tell the court what it was, please?
Well, all of a sudden the car started up, and it came charging down the track, and this time it had its lights on. It was going very, very fast, and when it reached the main road, I heard the tyres make a loud screeching sound, and then it shot off. It was gone in a flash.
Mrs. Farr, I'd like you to answer the next question very carefully, in view of the fact that you said it was getting dark.
Yes.
Were you able to describe this car?
Yes. It was an Austin. One of the big black ones, you know?
Now, are you sure of that?
Yes, I'm positive.
Yeah. Lord, we shall hear evidence to show that the defendant owns an Austin Princess. Were you able to see the driver, Mrs. Farr?
It was a man. He had dark hair and long sideburns. I wasn't near enough, though, to be able to identify him.
And what did you do then?
I went home and thought about it.
You live alone, Mrs. Farr?
Most of the time. My husband's in the Merchant Navy.
Yes. So you thought about it, and then?
And then I phoned the police. I told them that I'd heard shots and where they came from.
And did the police contact you later?
Yes, and they said that they found bloodstains in the cottage.
My lord, I
and
must object.
No, Mrs. Farr, we don't want to hear what the police told you, but you were contacted by the police and told that you might be required at a later stage to give evidence in a court of law.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Would you stay there, please?
You were unable to identify the driver of the car, is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
Mrs. Farr, you say the car was a big black Austin, and the driver had dark hair, long sideburns.
Yes.
You observed all this in the moment it took this fast-moving car to pass you on this dark track at nightfall.
Well, the inside light was on. It sort of lit it all up, you know.
Were you on the track or alongside it when the car passed you going towards the cottage?
Well, alongside it, really, not on it.
I see from the photos of the cottage and its surroundings that there's only a small verge to the track before one arrives at rather thickly populated wood.
I was walking through the woods.
Oh, you were in the woods?
Yes.
You were alone?
Yes.
How long have you lived in that area?
5 years since my marriage.
Oh, then you must have heard of the unpleasant incidents that have taken place in those woods.
Well, yes, I've heard about them, but I didn't take much notice.
I have here clippings from a local paper concerning cases where young couples using the woods for, shall we say, private purposes, were held up and robbed. Are you familiar with these newspaper reports?
Yes, I can remember reading them.
Were you not the tiniest bit afraid to go walking through the woods after dark all alone?
I don't scare easily.
How long was it from the time you first saw the car arrive at the cottage to the time it left?
It's hard to say.
Well, an hour.
Oh, no, nothing like that. 20 minutes, maybe?
And throughout that time you were walking through the woods?
Oh, well, it might only have been 5 minutes.
After the car had gone, did you go up to the cottage?
No, I went home. I said so.
Oh, why not? I mean, you've said everything seems suspicious. The arrival of a car without lights, gunshots, the car leaving rapidly, and there you are, a person who doesn't scare easily.
I never went anywhere near the place.
Oh, you say you went home and you thought about what had happened?
Yes.
Was your husband at home?
No, he was at sea.
Mrs. Farr, you rang the police at 1 a.m. on the morning of August the 7th. Now, that's several hours after the event. I ask again, what made you decide to ring them? I mean, why volunteer to become involved in what might have been a perfectly harmless incident?
Well, is my friend suggesting that it was wrong of Mrs. Farr to notify the police of suspicious events?
My lord, my learned friend knows better than that. But without going to the cottage to find evidence to confirm her suspicions, I'm at a loss to understand why Mrs. Farr, after several hours and much thought, should then decide to call in the police.
Some people do these things, some do not. Mrs. Farr apparently does have a sense of public obligation.
Thank you, my lord.
As your lordship pleases. Mrs. Farr, I put it to you that you were not alone that night.
That is not true.
Married woman, your husband away. But the fact that you were accompanied has a direct bearing on your evidence.
I'm telling you the truth.
I must put it to you, Mrs. Farr, that while otherwise engaged in the woods, your powers of observation were, shall we say, seriously impaired. Big black car, a driver you cannot identify who has dark hair and sideburns. How on earth could you have observed these details?
The police said that if I told the court what I'd seen, none of this would be brought out. I was alone. I'm telling you, I was. I was.
Mr. Coulson, will you please give the witness a glass of water?
No further questions, my lord.
The case of Regina versus Barnes will resume tomorrow in the Crown Court. On August the 6th, George Robbins disappeared from this isolated country cottage. He's not been seen since, nor has his body been found. During the first day of the trial of Harold Barnes, who's been charged with his murder, the court heard evidence from Robbins' business partner, Philip Kirby, of threats issued by Barnes on the life of Robbins, whom he suspected of having an affair with his wife. The court also heard from Mrs. Gwen Farr, who described how she had been near the cottage on that night. and had heard shots fired and a man resembling Barnes and in a car of the same make as that owned by the accused drive up to and afterwards hurriedly leave the cottage. Counsel for the defence, James Elliot, cast doubt on the evidence of this supposed eyewitness, Mrs. Farr, when he questioned her account of being in the nearby woods alone. He suggested that she could not swear to the details of her observation, since she was otherwise occupied with a companion. Mrs. Farr, whose husband is abroad, left the witness box in a state of distress. The trial is now in its second day, and Detective Inspector Robert of Fulchester CID is being called by Jonathan Fry, QC, leading for the prosecution.
Detective Inspector Robert, please.
I swear by Almighty God the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Detective Inspector Robert, Fulchester CID.
Inspector Robert, would you tell the court of your involvement in this case?
On August the 7th last at 3 a.m. I received a telephone call from the local police station of Scorpion District.
Local to Treefell Cottage?
Yes, sir. Acting on a call they received concerning an alleged shooting at the cottage. They investigated, found evidence of a struggle, then contacted me.
Mr. Fry, is the hearsay evidence we've just heard put in evidence under the provisions of the Criminal Investigation Act 1967?
That is correct, my lord.
Thank you.
The cottage comes within your division, Inspector.
Yes, sir. Accordingly, I went immediately to the cottage, which I discovered to be owned by George Robbins, a resident of Fulchester.
And what did you find? My lord, much of this is also dealt with under the 1967 Act.
A car, which was later found to be owned by Robbins. Also a series of bloodstains on the floor near the main entrance. The blood was later found to belong to the same group as George Robbins. In addition, there were indications that someone had recently been inhabiting the cottage. The fire was still warm in the grate, and there was the remains of a meal recently cooked in the kitchen.
But the place was empty?
Yes.
Well, did you then go on to make a thorough examination?
Yeah, we found one set of fingerprints only throughout.
And were you able to identify them?
Yes, these were later compared with a set of prints taken from Robbins' house in Fulchester, and they tallied.
And what did you do then, Inspector?
I took charge of the investigation to trace Mr. Robbins.
Were they successful?
No, sir. Exhaustive inquiries failed to locate Robbins alive or dead.
Would you now describe the circumstances leading up to your arrest of the defendant, please?
Yes, sir. During my search for Robbins, I interviewed his business associate, Philip Kirby.
Yes, Mr. Kirby has already given evidence concerning threats made by Barnes on the life of the missing person. Did he tell you about these threats?
Yes, sir. I then interviewed the defendant and asked him several questions relating to Robbins' disappearance.
And what were these questions, Inspector?
I asked him if he'd been in the vicinity of Treefell Cottage.
What did he say to that?
Well, he replied that he had never heard of the place. I told him where it was situated, and he said that he had never ever been to that part of the country.
Did you subsequently have reason to doubt the defendant's word?
Yes, sir.
How did this arise? Oh, there is no dispute about this piece of evidence?
Investigations turned up a parking fine which Barnes had incurred in the town of Silverton, which is about 2 miles from Treefell Cottage.
Had the fine been paid, Inspector?
Yes, June the 13th of this year.
And you have copies of that?
Yes, sir. They exhibit one on the table.
Mm-hmm. What other questions did you ask the defendant?
I inquired if he possessed or ever had possessed a firearm.
And what did he reply?
He replied that he'd never owned one.
And did you subsequently have reason to doubt the defendant's word on this reply?
Yes, sir. The defendant had now incurred suspicion, so I received a warrant to search his house.
And what did you find?
A packet of .38 cartridges, sir.
Exhibit 2, my lord. Inspector, is that the packet of cartridges?
Yes, sir.
And did you ask the defendant why he was in possession of these cartridges?
I did, sir. He said he'd owned them for years, that someone had left them there and he'd forgotten all about them.
Did you find anything else?
We found fibres attached to a pair of his shoes, which were later matched by forensics to fibres found on a rug on the floor in Robbins' country cottage.
I will, of course, be calling the forensic expert attached to the Fulchester CID, my lord, to verify this. And what did you do then, Inspector?
I cautioned the accused and told him I was arresting him for the murder of George Robbins.
And what did he reply?
He replied, "You can't do anyone for murder without a body."
And then what happened?
Well, he was taken to Fulchester Police Station, cautioned and formally charged.
Did he say anything further?
No, sir.
Inspector Robert, did you at any time invite Harold Barnes to account for his whereabouts on the 6th and 7th of August this year?
Yes, sir.
When?
Well, these were the first words I asked him when I first went to see him, sir.
Before you arrested him?
Yes, sir.
And what did he say?
He said, I am not going to tell you.
Thank you, Inspector.
You thoroughly examined the inside of the cottage, Inspector?
Yes, sir?
Did you examine the outside as well, the surrounds, the track?
Yes, sir, at first light.
Tell the court what was found.
Well, owing to the heavy rains, which began at 3 a.m. and were continuing while the investigation was proceeding, no tyre marks, except those of a farm tractor, were discovered on the track leading to Treefell Cottage. Similarly, no footprints were found either.
Did you subsequently examine the car belonging to the defendant?
Yes, sir.
Did you find anything which connected it with this alleged shooting incident?
Well, the car wasn't examined till a fortnight later,
No,
sir.
did you find anything?
No, sir.
Now, if we're to believe the sequence of events claimed by the prosecution, Barnes drove his own car to the cottage, he shot Robbins, and then he transported the body elsewhere to a hiding place so far undiscovered.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Well, has the upholstery of Mr. Barnes' car been recently either changed or scrubbed?
Not changed, no, sir.
Or scrubbed?
I don't know, sir.
All right, Inspector. How old is the car?
8 years.
What condition is the upholstery in?
Well, it's worn.
Is it stained from natural wear and usage?
Yes, sir.
Thus, Inspector, it has not recently been cleaned, would you say?
No, sir.
Or the boot?
No, sir.
Thank you, Inspector. Now, when you asked the defendant if he had ever been in the vicinity of the cottage and he said never, did he not actually reply, I've never heard of Treefell Cottage? Not that he had never been in that particular part of the country before.
He did not.
Did you tell him it was near Silverton?
I told him where it was situated on the map.
Would you answer my question, please?
I don't believe I mentioned Treefell Cottage.
No?
Mainly because it was at a later date that I turned up the parking offence in that place.
What did he say when you confronted him with this parking fine?
He said something like, oh, that, I'd forgotten all about that. He then went on to say that he did a lot of road travelling and he couldn't be expected to remember every place he passed through.
That's a very fair answer, wouldn't you say?
That is a matter of opinion, sir.
The date of payment of the fine is June the 13th.
Yes, sir.
This is no proof that Barnes was in the area at the material time. It was neither just before nor just after August the 6th.
No, sir, but it contradicted his initial statement.
When you cautioned him, you say he replied, you can't do anyone for murder without a body.
Yes, sir.
He said a lot more than that, didn't he?
I only noted the relevant remarks, sir.
Irrelevant for your purposes, Inspector.
No, sir.
Did Barnes not also say, how do you know he's dead? I don't believe he's dead at all. He's just dropped out of sight because the heavy mob are after him.
I've no record of that, sir.
And it was only when you persisted with your intention to charge him with murder that he said, out of sheer desperation, you can't do that without first proving that Robbins is dead.
The defendant was in an angry and aggressive mood. He never stopped yelling and shouting. It would have been impossible to have got down everything he said.
Inspector, did he not say to you that the frighteners have been put on Robbins for reasons connected with his business?
I have no record of that, sir.
So it appears. Well, did you pursue any other avenues of inquiry?
Such as what, sir?
Did you investigate other people who have been known to threaten Robbins?
We interviewed several persons, yes, sir.
And?
These were people in the used car business, but they all had substantiated alibis and so were eliminated from police inquiries.
They could have employed others to do their work for them.
We brought our charges based on a series of incriminating circumstances connected with the defendant, Harold Barnes.
Which do not appear to be so incriminating on closer examination.
The defendant was asked to account for his activities between August the 6th and 7th, and he declined to do so.
Inspector, the defendant has a full explanation, which the court will hear in due course.
His failure to do so to the police greatly increased the likelihood that he would be charged.
Final question, Inspector. Did you make any promise to Mrs. Farr to the effect that it would not be necessary for her to reveal all of her activities on the night of August the 6th, providing she would give evidence at this trial?
No, sir.
No further questions.
Just one matter, Inspector. You replied to Defence Counsel's inquiry about other avenues of investigation.
Yes, sir.
Well, who supplied the names of these other possible suspects?
The defendant, sir.
Only the defendant?
Yes, sir.
Oh. And how did he give you this information?
He volunteered it.
Well, did you follow these suggestions that he volunteered?
Well, he suggested that there might be people in the used car business who had stronger reasons for getting rid of Robbins than he had, and there had been trouble in that respect in the past.
Can you say from your inquiries if there was evidence that Robbins' life was in any danger from business rivals?
Well, not recently, no, sir.
When were you last asked to intervene in such a situation?
Well, it was April of last year, sir. I detailed a constable to maintain surveillance outside Robin's business and home addresses because there had been trouble in the past.
And was there any trouble?
None, sir.
And none since? In the 16 months between then and Robinson's disappearance?
None that came to our attention, sir.
That is, until Barnes suggested it. Thank you, Inspector. I call Dr. John Gold.
Dr. John Gold, please.
A final question, Dr. Gold. Did you apply a laboratory test to some .38 cartridges and to a pair of shoes which the police had found in the defendant's possession?
Yes.
And did these shoes contain fibre fragments which match those from a carpet found in Robins's cottage?
Yes.
Thank you, Doctor.
Tell us about the carpet, Doctor.
It was 3 feet by 2, rubber-backed, coarse nylon bristles.
Sorry. Was it made for any specific purpose?
It was placed by the main entrance on the inside. I would think visitors would wipe their feet on it.
It's safe to say it's a doormat?
Not the outdoor kind.
No, but it was used thus by visitors.
Yes.
Where can one buy such a mat?
At any ironmongers, I would have thought.
Are they mass-produced?
I would think so.
Is there any unique quality about the mat found in Robin's country cottage which sets it apart from all others?
I didn't examine all the others.
Doctor, you can see my question looming up, can't you?
The fragments taken from the defendant's shoes matched the fibres found in the carpet in the cottage.
And 1 million other mats made by that same carpet firm.
I repeat.
Yes, I know. You didn't examine all the others.
I can give the court only the results of my own examinations.
All right, Doctor, let's try it this way. The fibres you took from the shoes, did they contain any marks, mud, even blood, which would nail them more firmly as having come from Robin's mat and not from any other?
No.
No. You say that you have specialized in the study of explosives and firearms.
That is correct.
Mm-hmm. Did you examine those cartridges, exhibit number 2, my lord? You examined those cartridges?
Yes, they're the same, the .38 caliber.
Could you tell how old they are, Doctor?
Well, not precisely.
Well, roughly.
Well, the colour and texture of the cases give some indication.
Roughly how old are they, Doctor?
Well, it's hard to say, but, well, 5, 6 years.
How many does the box hold?
20.
How many cartridges are there now?
20.
Thank you, Doctor. An unused box of 6-year-old cartridges. I wanted the jury to hear just how substantial this evidence is against the defendant. The police seem to feel that because Barnes is found in possession of a box of 6-year-old unused bullets, this is enough to prove him a liar when he says he's never owned a firearm. Thank you. No more questions.
Thank you, Dr.
That, my lord, is the case for the prosecution.
Very well. Are we ready, Mr. Elliot?
I apologize, my lord. I call the defendant Harold Barnes.
What is your religion?
Silly.
Take the testament in your right hand and read aloud the words on the card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You're Harold Barnes?
Yes.
72 Arbroath Crescent, Fulchester. Mr. Barnes, did you murder George Robbins?
No.
Where were you between the morning of August the 6th this year and the evening of the following day, August the 7th?
Mr. Elliot, no alibi notice has been served in this case. The Act provides that you cannot give evidence of alibi if a proper notice has not been given, so that the police may inquire into it.
If I may assist, my lord, my friend did warn me of this during the adjournment, and I agreed not to object if the evidence went no further than he claimed it would.
Very well. You may answer the question, Barnes.
I was in Scotland.
What were you doing there?
Delivering a car.
Why didn't you tell this to the police?
The car was stolen.
Who stole it?
I did.
Who was with you?
My wife.
Who did you see in Scotland?
I'm not prepared to say.
Who took delivery of the car?
Forget it, I'm not saying.
Your defence will depend largely on your own evidence.
My wife was with me. She'll bear me out.
You would be well advised to say whom you saw in Scotland. The jury may not be satisfied with yours and your wife's evidence.
Tough.
I advise you to reconsider your decision.
Look, I did not kill Robbins. And if there's any justice in this world, they'll find that out.
Is it true that you threatened his life?
Yes.
Did you mean it?
At the time, yes.
And later?
I wasn't going to go to prison for that rotten bastard.
You can give your evidence, Barnes, without using that sort of language. It won't assist you, and I won't tolerate it.
I wasn't going to rot in prison for that festering pig!
Mr. Elliot, does your client understand plain English?
Mr. Barnes, if you do not wish to rot in prison, I suggest you pay more attention to your replies.
You mean you want me to go down on my knees and bawl like an old woman and you'll get me off, right?
No, sir.
He means that you should be aware that you are in the most serious situation.
You're also convinced that Robbins is dead.
You're not then, Barnes? You think he's still alive?
Oh, he's alive, all right. He's in Brazil or somewhere at this minute, reading the papers and laughing himself sick about this trial.
Why do you think he's still alive?
Look, everyone jumps on me as though I'm the only one who wants Robbins out of the way. There were dozens.
We've already heard how the police checked the other people and found that they had proof of being elsewhere on August the 6th.
Playing cards with each other's mates. Some proof, eh?
What makes you think he is still alive?
Well, he owed them.
Robbins owed who what, Mr. Barnes?
Look, the police know all about this. Though you wouldn't think so from their evidence, but they do.
All about what?
He was in on the racket. He was creaming off the top to pay for his girlfriends, and the mob went after him.
Mr. Barnes, what racket?
The cars he sold were hot.
You mean they were stolen?
Most of them, yeah.
Can you substantiate that?
God almighty, I ought to be able to. I used to knock them off for him, didn't I?
Please explain that to the court.
I'm a car thief. I steal cars to order. If a bloke says he wants or if he says he's got, say, a punter for, well, 1969 Mercedes, well, I look out for one. I knock it off. He does a respray, changes the serial numbers, the number plates, then he sells it to the customer.
And you worked in that capacity for George Robbins?
Yeah.
How long ago was this?
A couple of years back.
Robbins was the head of this racket, was he?
No, he was small time. There was a boss.
And you believe that Robbins faked his death to avoid trouble from his employers because of some irregularity in the accounts or something like that?
He was scared out of his skull.
Was he? When was this?
Best part of last year, when he knew they were after him.
Or could these unknown employers have killed him?
Oh, they'd never get their money back if they did.
It was, say, as a lesson to others.
But why hide the body? Look, Robbins is alive and well and stands to collect a packet out of his insurance. That's the name of the game, mate. That's the only way he can pay off the mob.
Mr. Barnes, why did you threaten him?
Because he was sniffing around my wife.
You thought they were having an affair?
I thought so, yeah.
You went to him to protest?
I make no secret of this. I told him if he didn't lay off, I'd do him.
You would kill him?
Yeah.
You went to his office on July the 17th and you saw him again on July the 30th at the El Condor Club.
Yeah.
You were no longer working for him at that time, were you?
No, not for a year or more.
Now, what happened on the first occasion?
Well, the first time a couple of his guerrillas, they come on by the arms, you know, while he worked me over. Then they threw me out.
By guerrillas, you mean strong men, something like that?
Yeah, guerrillas, yeah.
Did anyone see you as you were thrown out?
Well, the place was full with punters.
With customers?
Yeah.
Did you complain to the police?
What's the point? Where's the witnesses? You lot live in ivory towers.
Not all the time, Barnes. We sometimes come down out of them to see that people like you get a fair trial.
Nobody saw nothing. Listen, I could have been undrawn and quartered, and nobody would have seen a thing. You know what I mean?
Would you tell the court what happened at the El Condor Club?
Well, Robbins and his mate, Kirby, They had a couple of brasses with them.
Lord, one of these ladies was Mr. Kirby's wife.
That's right. She's been on the game since she was 10. Now listen to me, Barnes. If you persist in uttering gratuitous and defamatory remarks, I shall have no alternative but to adjourn the court until you agree to behave yourself.
Mr. Barnes, please confine yourself to giving relevant information and use simple language that everyone can understand.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Elliot, I was not complaining that I did not understand what he was saying.
Of course, my lord. Mr. Barnes, you say at the El Condor Club you were provoked into saying to Robbins, make the most of it because you won't live long to collect, meaning money that Robbins had been awarded in a court case.
Yeah.
Were you provoked?
Yeah.
By what?
Well, Robbins and Kirby, they kept shouting things across like, where's your old woman tonight? Having it off with the milkman issue, you know, things like that. Then they'd fall about laughing and then they'd shout something else, you know.
Was the club crowded?
It was full.
So many people heard this jeering.
Yeah, that was the general idea.
Did anyone come to your aid?
Like hell.
What did they do?
Well, they joined in.
So you had no friends there?
Robbins was, well, he had all his mates there. He was buying all the drinks that night, you know.
And finally, you were thrown out.
Yeah.
Mr. Barnes, did you believe at that time that your wife was having an affair with Robbins?
I wasn't sure.
Do you know the truth about the matter now?
I know now that she wasn't.
On August the 6th, did you know that there was no truth to these rumours?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes, why did you take your wife on a trip to Scotland, which you now admit to be one made for a criminal purpose?
Well, we'd made it up that week, you know, about Robbins, so I thought we could have a weekend on our own together.
You mixed business with pleasure.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Robbins disappears.
I know how it all looks, you know.
How what all looks?
Well, I know that people heard me say that I was going to kill Robbins, and then they found all that blood and stuff at the cottage.
Yes, and an eyewitness.
Oh, yeah, she was a Roman, wasn't she, eh? Police must be pretty desperate. If all that they can find is a tart who's having it off on the side while her old man's away at sea.
Mr. Barnes, would you please watch your tongue?
What are you talking about? You proved that yourself, didn't you?
You would be well advised to listen to your counsel.
Listen, what kind of a circus is this? I'm just trying to spell out what he said to support my case. Now, listen, she was lying on her back on the grass.
Be quiet.
And now the jury ought to know that and not have to work it out for themselves with nods and bloody winks.
Be quiet! I will decide what the jury ought to be told, not you. In the meantime, you will cease making distasteful and, I repeat, defamatory remarks. Mr. Elliot, I shall not speak to the defendant again.
I understand, my lord. Mr. Barnes, answer the following questions, yes or no. Have you ever owned a gun?
No.
On August the 6th this year, did you have any reason to wish to kill George Robbins?
No.
And do you maintain that George Robbins is still alive?
Yeah.
I'd like to call George Robbins.
The case of Regina versus Barnes will resume tomorrow in the Crown Court. Was George Robbins murdered in this cottage? Robbins was a tough man in a tough business. He made enemies. 6 months ago he disappeared. He's not been seen since, either dead or alive. At Fulchester Crown Court, the trial of Harold Barnes continues. Barnes has been accused of murdering Robbins. Robbins, it was rumoured, had an affair with Barnes' wife. The prosecution say Barnes killed him because of it. Barnes maintains Robbins is still alive, that he faked his death to swindle the insurance companies and find money to get out of some business trouble. The prosecution has begun its cross-examination of Harold Barnes, and Jonathan Fry, QC, has just created a sensation by calling for George Robbins to appear in court.
George Robbins, please. Call George Robbins, please.
My lord, if I may intrude upon my learned friend's charade, may I ask what this is all about?
Mr. Fry, what do you mean by your irregular call for George Robbins to appear?
I apologize, my lord.
I would like an explanation rather than an apology.
Lord, my learned friend has said that he is not seeking to prove that George Robbins is still alive. On the contrary, he is prepared to accept evidence put before the court in support of the assumption that Robbins is dead.
Well?
The only person to question this has been the defendant, Barnes. Yet when I appear to accept his view and make as if to call Robbins into the court, Barnes is the only person in the court who does not turn to look at what to anyone else would be a remarkable appearance. Why? Because I submit he knows that Robbins is dead.
I just wasn't stupid enough to believe Robbins had been found, that's all.
Very well, Mr. Fry. I'm prepared to overlook your unseemly behaviour on this occasion. But kindly remember that I'm extremely averse to theatricals in my court.
Thank you, Lord. You have said that you're a car thief.
But not a murderer.
One thing at a time. And on the 6th and 7th of August this year, you were in Scotland with your wife, delivering a stolen car.
Yeah.
You told this to the court here today.
Right.
But you didn't tell the police when you were charged with murder.
No.
Why not? It was an alibi supported by your wife. As Inspector Robert told the court, the fact that you had no alibi increased the suspicion that you were the man the police were seeking.
I just didn't believe I'd be charged. And I wasn't going to be conned into admitting that I'd nicked a car and involved my wife with it, eh?
But you were charged.
Yeah, when I'd refused to give an alibi.
Which you spent the last few months polishing up before delivering it here in court.
It's up to you to disprove my alibi, not for me to prove it.
I see you know the law.
I do, so don't you try and stone me.
You were not, however, so well informed, and you were cautioned. You can't do anyone for murder if there isn't a body. The fact is, Mr. Barnes, you can.
That's why I keep saying Robbins is still alive.
And what do you mean by that?
Look, you find Robbins dead, and no matter who did it, you'll pin it on me. Because of me threatening him and all that. You find him with a belly full of bullets, and I don't stand a chance. But so far, no one has said that definitely Robbins is dead, have they? I mean, all this stuff about evidence.
Barnes,
Evidence.
the jury will eventually decide whether the evidence is sufficient to assume that he is dead.
Yeah, assume. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Assuming he's dead. So he disappears for 6 months. So who wouldn't? I've told you already. He had his hand in the till. He was found with it. I'd do the same myself if I was in his shoes.
Mr. Barnes, I'm not going to debate the issue of Robbins' present whereabouts with you.
No, you don't have to, do you? You can just assume he's dead. It's all very well for you, but it's not for me, is it?
You delayed giving an alibi because you never thought you'd be charged with murder. Is that right?
Right.
But now that you have been charged, out comes this story about delivering stolen cars in Scotland. In the company of your wife, who was with you on a kiss and make-up weekend.
That's the truth.
And that's the truth, is it? Then why don't you go one stage further?
What do you mean?
Where did you stay in Scotland?
I'm not saying.
A single entry in an hotel register would verify your alibi.
Oh, we didn't stay in a hotel.
How very unfortunate.
Look, you don't drive nicked cars around and leave a trail of bloody crews behind you, do you?
I'm in no position to say, Mr. Barnes, but I'll take the word of an expert thief.
Oh, sticks and stones will break my bloody bones.
Behave
mate.
yourself.
Listen, why is it the only one in this court who's not allowed to make a joke is me?
Nobody is making jokes.
This old trouser joke.
Are you prepared to submit to cross-examination or are you not?
Oh, go ahead. I've got nothing else on.
You said earlier that you did not kill George Robbins.
I'm still saying it.
Because so you said, you didn't intend to rot in jail because of him.
Right.
So despite the threat you issued, leave my wife alone or I'll kill you, make the most of it because you won't live to collect. Despite making these threats, which you admit you meant seriously, you did not really intend to fulfill them.
My wife convinced me that she had not been having it off with Robbins. She convinced me that she was telling the truth.
And so to make it up to her, you took her on a joyride to Scotland in a stolen car.
Yeah.
When did you first learn that Robbins had disappeared?
A couple of weeks later.
A couple of weeks after August the 7th?
Yeah, about that.
And how did you learn of it?
Gossip, got around.
And when were you first aware how bad it could be for you?
Not till the coppers called.
You had an alibi. Or so you said. Oh, yes, of course, I forgot you didn't intend to use it. Are we to assume, then, that you prefer to be tried for murder rather than theft?
I'm waiting for you to prove that Robbins is dead. You find his body and you prove that I did it.
You killed Robbins. You disposed of his body so well that you have the confidence to say that. Find his body and then prove that I did it.
You can't prove nothing, and it's bugging the hell out of you.
You acted on the assumption of no body, no trial. And then you found that you were wrong. And that is bugging you, Mr. Barnes.
We'll see. We'll see if they believe he's dead. He's not. He's alive.
Be quiet.
I mean, you've got Kirby, the biggest liar in the business, and his ex-wife who wants to cover the insurance
Remove
to
the
say
prisoner from
that
the
they've not
witness
seen him
box.
for so long that he must be dead. And you got that proof. The biggest fraud in the world. And you think this isn't a joke? It's a bloody farce, mate.
I have the power to order this trial to continue in your absence if you persist in this behavior. Are you going to control yourself? Mr. Elliot.
I wish to call Mrs. Catherine Barnes.
Mrs. Catherine Barnes, please.
What is your religion?
Church of England.
Take the testament in your right hand and read aloud the words on the card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
So, Catherine Barnes, you live at 72 Arbroath Crescent, Fulchester,
Yes,
and you're the wife of the defendant, Harold Barnes.
yes.
Are you acquainted with George Robbins?
I know him, yes.
Do you know him well?
He bought me a drink now and then.
You went out with him from time to time.
A few times.
Was your husband aware of this?
Not at the time, no.
Did he find out later?
Yes.
Mrs. Barnes, I have to ask you this question. Did you sleep with George Robbins?
No. No, he wanted me to, but I refused.
Was Robbins angry when you rejected him?
Very.
What did he say?
He said he'd tell Harry we'd already been having an affair.
Did he in fact tell your husband that you and he had been sleeping together?
Yes.
What was your husband's reaction?
He threatened he'd kill him if he didn't leave me alone.
Presumably you tried to convince him that Robbins was lying.
Yes, of course I did.
Did he believe you?
I think he wanted to. But every time he ran into George Robbins and his friends, they started saying things. They rubbed it in that me and George had... Well, they got him mad.
Coming now to the weekend of August the 6th, the weekend that Robbins disappeared.
Yes.
What happened between you and your husband?
I managed to convince him that George Robbins had been lying about me. He said he had a job that coming weekend, driving up to Scotland, and that we should get rid of the kids with my sister and drive up there together.
And did you?
Yes,
When did you leave Fulchester?
Friday afternoon.
Now, that would be August the 6th.
Yes,
When did you get back?
Sunday night.
Mrs. Barnes, were you with your husband the entire time that weekend?
Every minute.
Thank you. No further questions.
Will you tell us where you stayed in Scotland?
No,
Why not?
I just can't.
If you did and could prove it, your husband would almost certainly be acquitted of the charge he now faces.
Harris told me I mustn't say.
For fear of incriminating others in the car theft business? I can send you to prison if you don't answer the question.
You say there is no truth in the rumours about you and George Robbins,
They weren't true.
and that after much persuasion you convinced your husband that they weren't true,
Yes.
after which his attitude towards George Robbins altered immediately.
He still hated him.
Well, quite. As he himself has said, when he threatened his life, he meant it. But come the weekend of the 6th and 7th of August, when George Robbins disappeared, your husband no longer had any wish to kill George Robbins, because by then you had convinced him that the stories weren't true.
That's right.
What a fortunate last-minute conversion.
That's what happened, whether you like it or not.
Why did you agree to let Robbins take you out in the first place?
I saw nothing wrong with it.
But he must have known his reputation as a ladies' man. Everyone else did.
I can look after myself.
So you went with Robbins, knowing that if you did, and your husband found out, he would be extremely angry.
I saw nothing wrong with having a drink with him.
Didn't you?
No.
In public.
Always in public.
Where all the world could see you with a notorious womanizer. You couldn't see anything wrong in that.
I really don't care what people think.
Not even when those same people could go and tell your husband the minute he came home.
I had nothing to hide.
Is it not the case, Mrs. Barnes, that you did have an affair with George Robbins, that your husband found out, that you didn't care that he found out, that he went after Robbins and threatened to kill him if he didn't stop seeing you, that you continued to encourage Robbins to pay attention to you, so that your husband fulfilled his threat, followed him down to Treefell Cottage and there murdered him?
None of that's true.
Is it not also true that finding yourself without a lover, you agreed to help your husband by supporting his cock and bull yarn about a reconciliation and a weekend spent in Scotland?
We were in Scotland the day George Robbins is meant to have been killed.
And yet so strong is honour among thieves that you won't find anybody in Scotland to bear out your story for fear of implicating them. You put their welfare before that of your husband, who, if convicted, stands to spend the rest of his life in prison.
We were in Scotland the day George Robbins disappeared.
I have no more questions to put to this witness, my lord.
You may go.
That concludes the case for the defence, my lord.
Thank you.
Please, Your Lordship, members of the jury, the prosecution in this case has sought to establish two things. Firstly, that George Robbins is dead. Secondly, that he was murdered by the defendant, Harold Barnes. It is our submission that George Robbins met his death on Friday the 6th of August last year, that he was shot, and that his body was transported to a place from which to date it has not been recovered. Now, you will recall the following facts. On 2 occasions, the defendant, Harold Barnes, threatened George Robbins in public. Contact my wife again and I will kill you. You've heard that signs of a violent struggle were found at Robbins's country cottage. An eyewitness described how she saw a car, like Barnes's car, leave the cottage driven by a man with dark hair and long sideburns. Note that this description was given weeks before the defendant was apprehended. And you will notice that the defendant has dark hair and long sideburns. And then we heard the evidence of the forensic expert. Fibres from a carpet found in Robbins's cottage were detected in Barnes's shoes. And from the police, we heard that although he maintained he'd never been anywhere near the place in his life, he had in fact paid a parking fine, not 2 miles from there. He also claimed that he had no gun. Why then was he in possession of ammunition? And finally, the most incriminating of all members of the jury, we come to the defendant's alibi. Whilst refusing to disclose his whereabouts on Friday the 6th of August to the police when he was charged with murder, he waits until he comes to this court to say that he took a trip to Scotland which covered this period. A trip, members of the jury, witnessed only by his wife. Now, you'll recall the defendant's word when he was asked why he diverged from the tactics of his counsel and maintained that Robbins is still alive. He said that if it were proved that Robbins were dead, he, Barnes, wouldn't stand a chance, that he would be convicted because of the evidence against him, even though he maintained that he didn't kill Robbins. And there, members of the jury, we have the truth of the matter. If Robbins is dead, even the defendant agrees there is sufficient damning evidence to prove that he killed him. Counsel for the defense, in their attempt to show that Robbins was killed not by the defendant, but by some unknown group of business rivals, have been unable to offer any proof at all. They could only refer to some hostility between these unknown gentlemen and Robbins over the 15 months prior to Robbins's disappearance. But this in no way substantiates the claim that anyone other than Barnes had any desire to kill Robbins. No, members of the jury, it is our submission that the facts given before you prove quite clearly that Harold Barnes, incensed by his wife's affair with Robbins, followed Robbins to Treefell Cottage, murdered him, removed the body to a place where it has remained hidden, and then assumed wrongly that he could never be tried for murder as long as the body was not found. There he made his mistake. And it is that mistake, members of the jury, which will make sure that he is rightly convicted of the crime with which he is charged.
Please, my lord, members of the jury. Let me, in summing up, ask you first to consider what my learned friend has just maintained is true. Harold Barnes decides to murder George Robbins because of jealousy. On the evening of August 6th, he drives his own car to Robbins' country cottage. He shoots Robbins 3 times before bundling his body into his car and removing it elsewhere. He then sits around and waits for the police to catch up with him, which he knows they will, for he has on more than one occasion threatened his life in public. Now, when they do, he withholds an alibi story because the alibi involves a fiction about delivering a stolen car to Scotland. Members of the jury, whatever conclusions you may have arrived at concerning the character of the defendant, you cannot possibly believe him to be such a fool. If nothing else, and I repeat, if nothing else, Harold Barnes is cunning. He has to be. His occupation demands it. Now, would this professional criminal plan and execute a murder and then concoct as an alibi a story that he was unable to substantiate? I mean, surely he would have planned an alibi that was unshakable. Playing cards all weekend, fishing with 3 companions, anything. Now, this is the most incredible assumption made by the prosecution in their attempt to prove that the defendant is guilty of this alleged murder. Now, there are, of course, other assumptions. Would a professional and expert car thief drive his own car to the scene of a crime? And what did he do? Did he draw off Robbins' blood before he put his body in the car? It seems unlikely. The forensic expert stated that he could furnish no conclusive proof that the fibers found in the defendant's shoes matched those of the doormat in Robbins' cottage. I don't intend to spend any time debating the seriousness of finding an unused box of 6-year-old bullets. Barnes said at the time he had never owned a gun. This has not been disproved. As we've said, we do not rely solely on contesting the evidence that George Robbins is no longer alive. We have proceeded to give what is evidence of a reasonable doubt as to the guilt of the defendant. Now, Mrs. Barnes has stated that by August the 6th, her husband had no interest in carrying out his threat to murder Robbins. He was at that time convinced of the falseness of the rumours which had first aroused his anger. So, he and his wife drove to Scotland to deliver a stolen car. Now, Barnes has made no secret of his activities as a car thief, and his wife supports this account of the trip. The very nature of the business has made it impossible for Barnes to furnish a witness. Now, this is worthy of note. Barnes was willing to face the serious charge of murder rather than give the name of the person or persons who could exonerate him of this charge. My learned friend has suggested that there is honour among thieves. Well, I put it to you that if you reject this cliché approach, you'll find that fear among thieves plays a far greater role than honour. The eyewitness. Now, she has referred to the man she saw driving away from the cottage on August the 6th as being unidentifiable, save for the fact that he had dark hair and long sideburns. Now, remember, this description was given to the police weeks before Barnes was first interviewed. Members of the jury, look around this courtroom. There are many people who fit that description, including Inspector Robert. Members of the jury, my submission, the evidence has shown that George Robbins may have been killed on August the 6th last. But there is clearly insufficient evidence to place the blame for that killing on the head of the defendant, Harold Barnes. Thank you, my lord.
Thank you, Mr. Elliot. Now, members of the jury, it is now my duty to advise you on points of law and to remind you of the evidence. It is for you alone to decide what you believe and whether the charge against Harold Barnes has been proved or not. In a case where a person is accused of murder, but the body of the victim has not been produced, the law requires the prosecution to present positive evidence that a murder has in fact taken place. This evidence will, of course, be circumstantial. However, a combination of events can be sufficient to conclude that a person has met his death. In the case of George Robbins, you have heard that he never failed to visit his children on every Saturday of the year. Since the week of his disappearance, he has never once done so. Secondly, you've heard that he had been expected to attend a very important business meeting the week after he disappeared. He did not attend it. Thirdly, you have heard the evidence of the bloodstains which were found in Robbins's country cottage. Bloodstains of the same group as Robbins's own blood. And lastly, members of the jury, you have heard that since August the 6th, no one has heard from or seen George Robbins again. Now, you may well feel that these circumstances are sufficient to prove that he is dead. But if, however, you feel that Robbins is still alive, then you have no alternative but to bring in a verdict of not guilty. However, I would urge you to consider very carefully the evidence brought forward to the view that he is dead. And if you decide to your own satisfaction that he is dead, it will then be your duty to decide whether Harold Barnes is guilty of his murder. The defense has sought to show that there were other parties bent on taking his life, whereas the prosecution has presented a case which seeks to eliminate any reasonable doubt whatsoever from the charge that Barnes is guilty. You must choose between them. Now, one final word of advice. You will, of course, have noted that Barnes is a self-confessed thief who has lived most of his adult life among criminals. But I must remind you that you are not here to judge him on what his previous life has been. You are simply required to consider the evidence you have heard and to decide whether this man murdered George Robbins. In conclusion, I will remind you that the 2 points which the prosecution must establish beyond reasonable doubt are these. 1, that George Robbins is dead. 2, that Harold Barnes killed him. And now, members of the jury, you will kindly retire and consider your verdict.
The court will rise. Bring up the prisoner. The prisoner will remain standing. All stand. Members of the jury, will your foreman please rise? Just answer this question, yes or no. Have you reached a verdict upon which you are all agreed?
Yes.
Do you find the prisoner at the bar, Harold Barnes, guilty or not guilty of the charge of murder?
Not guilty.
Very well. Harold Barnes, you have been found not guilty. You are free to leave the court.
All stand.
Just a moment, Barnes. I want to vote.
Hey, what's going on?
You're going to be arrested.
Next week, join another jury in assessing the facts when our cameras return to watch another leading case in the Crown Court.